You see it?
Yeah. So, uh,
You want to
do
take
you know,
it back a little bit?
just a little bit. So, bottom of page 271 is a segue.
Mm-hmm.
Outside their room, a corridor 3.5 feet wide was erected out of bamboo matting with a tin roof so that it could be used even during the monsoon season. This enclosed passageway served a dual purpose, mainly to shield the women from the sun and heat as they walked back and forth from their room to the kitchen, but also to maintain strict privacy so that Mara could not see out or be seen. She was never even to glimpse a man from afar, such as someone working in the fields. And every precaution was taken so that he would not see her. In addition, the order given in Nasik about having one of the women with Mera at all times continued to be observed at Mehrabad. Either Mani or Khorshid kept watch outside the bathroom when Mera went for a bath or to the toilet. They sat on the steps until she finished and then escorted her back to their room or to the kitchen, which was where they spent all their time in the early days on the hill. We never went round the compound for a walk, Mara commented. We were too busy. We didn't even walk inside within the confines of the compound. From our east room to the kitchen and back. For many years, that was it. But even though we didn't walk about here or there in the evenings, we were so content in Mehrabad. We just waited for Baba to return from the Mandali. When others came, they roamed about the compound, but we four girls, that is Mera, Mani, Khorshid, and Nadja, never left the room or kitchen. Baba was so sweet. After some time, he saw that we were just working and working. When we finished for the day, we went to our rooms and sewed. One day, Baba brought badminton rackets and shuttlecocks. He didn't want us to feel cooped up, so he had a badminton court built where the tin shed is now. The sidebar says the girls were referred to collectively by the Mandali as the Uparnas, meaning those residing at Upper Mehrabad.
Oh, so probably upper mass.
Yeah, it could be upper Nas. Or as the Undernas, meaning those kept inside. The badminton court was laid down with lines and a net was put up. Nearly every morning for some time, Baba played with the women for 10 or 15 minutes after breakfast. Baba liked to give smashes. Then he told them to continue playing while he went down the hill and played tennis at Lower Mehrabad on a makeshift court. The sun was not strong yet, and the girls played for another half hour and then finished cooking before Baba returned. They were told to play every day. Badminton was the only recreation we had in those days, Mani said. As we went to the kitchen through the Tata passage, came back, and went nowhere else except where it concerned Baba. While the others were playing badminton, Nadja and Franny, when she visited, did some gardening. They grew a vegetable creeper on the barbed wire fence around their compound, and they also planted beds of flowers and a morning glory creeper outside the east room, where Mera, Mani, Khorshid, and Nadja stayed. Baba himself planted the neem tree outside their kitchen. The tree was brought to Upper Mehrabad from Ahmednagar by bullock cart and was already 3 to 4 feet high and packed with soil around its roots. As it was being lowered into the hole, Baba touched its trunk. Since it was so hot most of the time, whenever Baba walked up or down the hill, Sunamasi or Kaku held an umbrella over him. Walu thought it would be better if there were shade trees lining the path. So in December 1933, she planted saplings on either side of the path and carried water on her shoulders to water them. Walu loved animals and gardening, Mehera observed. She planted and tended the lemon and mango trees in our compound, besides the trees on the approach road leading up the hill. She did most of the work herself, and she did it with so much love and care. Although she had 2 servants under her, still she would take the tools from their hands and make the pits broader and deeper. Jasmine and curry leaf bushes were also planted, along with more neem trees. The sidebar says, a pipeline and water pump were installed later from the well at Upper Meherabad to a tank at, from the well at Lower Meherabad to a tank at Upper Meherabad, so that water no longer had to be carried up the hill by bullock cart each day. However, most of these trees and shrubs on the hill did not survive because of the infertile soil and poor rainfall. Moreover, after they left on the new life, no one watered them. So back to the text. Could you scroll? Yeah, there we go. So jasmine and curry leaf bushes were also planted along with more neem trees. It was Walu, too, who washed Baba's clothes on the hill, whereas Mehera had done this before. Baba frequently carried letters and pieces of paper with numbers written on them in the 2 big pockets of his coat. Sometimes he pulled out a piece of paper from one pocket, glanced at it, and put it in the other pocket. Once before washing his coat, Walu forgot to remove the papers from his pockets and inadvertently washed the few letters that were there. Panic ensued. What should she do now? Baba will be furious, she thought. Carefully, she extracted each soaking letter and hung it on the clothesline to dry. But Baba was not upset. When you expected Baba to really be fiery over something, said Mani, he would chuckle over it. Sometimes when there was nothing, Baba was very angry. Baba wore ordinary Muslim sadras, and this type of material wrinkles easily after washing. So Mehera still ironed it as she had done at Lower Meherabad by folding it well under a towel and pressing down. Under his sadra, Baba wore long white boxer type shorts called chadis. His sadras and chadis came pre-stitched from Navsari Baba lovers, so there was always plenty. Baba's legs were slim, lovely, and strong, Mehera said, to which Mani added, Baba's legs were so slender, like a child's. If it were cool, Baba wore the camley coat. During this time, Gulmai gave Baba the first of his many pink coats, this one stitched by an Ahmednagar tailor of light pink cotton material. Mehera, however, found it difficult to keep the coats free of wrinkles since they did not have an iron and, of course, no electricity. She sprinkled the coat with water, pressed it with her hands, and placed it under some weight between two towels. In the afternoon or evening, she checked its dampness and then hung it outside until it was dry. The sidebar says, Franny made Baba a lightweight woolen coat of a rust color called American Beauty that Baba wore for some time. Its pockets bulged with letters, and he called it his post office. Someone gave Baba a crimson velvet dressing gown, too, as well as a blue one, and a white flannel robe for winter. Back to the text. Much later, someone brought an old-fashioned iron from Bombay that used a burning coal inside. But the coal had to be fanned constantly to keep it glowing, and the ashes often fell on the clothes. After pressing Baba's clothes, after pressing Baba's clothes, Mehera darned the torn sadras and tightened the buttons on his coats. And the continuation of the sidebar was, and a white flannel robe for winter that he wore over his sadras. And another note says, to a few pairs of chadis, the women even added lace. So the chadis are the shorts. So Avatar Mehera Baba used to wear undershorts with lace, folks. Summers at Meherabad are uncomfortably hot. And although Baba used an umbrella when he went up and down the hill, walking in the open in the searing heat of the day became an ordeal. Yet every day Baba came up and went down, Mehera noted, admiring his fortitude and at the same time feeling sad as she imagined how uncomfortable he must have been. Baba's face was pink with exertion by the time he came to their room at lunch, and Mehera dried his perspiration. The women washed the dust from his feet and dried them while he relaxed on a thin mattress, leaning back against the wall. When Baba developed cracks on the soles of his feet, Gulmai knew how to treat them. A thin towel was put under his feet, which were then rubbed with cow's ghee. After this, the feet were rubbed with the base of a copper bowl for 2 or 3 minutes. It made Baba's feet feel cool, Mehera explained. He said it felt good. Afterwards, Mehera soaked his feet in lukewarm water. Could you scroll, please, Tina? So Mehera soaked his feet in lukewarm water without soap and dried them with a small towel. During the hot summer months, Baba and the women ate lunch in the East Room as it was cooler there. But at other times, they ate in the new kitchen. We were very happy to have the nice kitchen, Mehera said. Because Baba ate lunch so early, the women had to finish cooking quickly. Naja hurried to prepare the food. Mehera helping by grinding the masala, spices, while others cut vegetables and cleaned the rice of stones and other small particles. Spice for the curry had to be ground to a fine powder on a grinding stone, along with coriander seeds, red chilies, and turmeric. Mehera found the dry coconut the most difficult to grind. In addition, every day, fresh garlic chutney was prepared for Baba, which he liked. The food was then cooked over a wood fire lit by Sunamasi. Their own food was prepared at the same time as Baba's, but kept separate. At lunchtime, the women ate seated on tiny, very low stools with their plates on the kitchen floor. Baba sat cross-legged on a broad wooden table that had a piece of galvanized tin fixed on top. Over this, the women put a thin mattress with a nice cover and a large cushion at the back against the wall. Baba hopped nimbly onto the table and asked what was for lunch. And the sidebar says, later, when Mansari began using the kitchen, the table was kept in the East Room. It is now back in its original position. So Baba hopped nimbly onto the table and asked what was for lunch. Spiced dal and rice, Naja might say. Baba touched his stomach, meaning, I'm hungry. Quickly, Mehera spread a tablecloth over Baba's lap and placed the food on a tray. Baba helped himself from the individual cooking vegetables. If he wanted chutney or a pickle, Mehera spooned it on his plate from a small jar. Once, before Naja recovered, Mehera and Khorshid were doing the cooking with Mani helping. That day, they cooked a vegetable, perhaps eggplant, for the women, and for Baba, rice and dal. Baba came, washed his hands, and tasted the vegetable, but then gestured. This is terrible. Who taught you to cook? A frog? Baba's gesture for Naja was frog, as she was short and her features resembled a frog. So Baba said. But they had forgotten this and they stared blankly at him in confusion. What, Baba? Khorshid asked. A frog? Baba repeated the gesture. I wonder what the gesture is for a frog. But Khorshid simply looked at Mehera, wondering what in the world he meant. Have we cooked a frog? Mehera too was perplexed, and then remembered that it was his sign for Naja. Baba waited impatiently, but when they explained their confusion, he laughed. Food in the ashram was always vegetarian and consisted of either rice and curry or rice and dal with an occasional vegetable. It would have been nice if we had eggs, Mehera reflected, but eggs were not allowed. We never saw an egg in Meherabad, and I loved fried eggs. Once Naja made mock egg curry using chickpea flour for the yolks and rice flour for the whites. These ersatz eggs were placed in the curry. Everyone saw it and said happily, "Wow, egg curry today." We were too eager to accept the fact that Baba had allowed us to have eggs that day, said Mehera. We didn't probe into it. We broke the quote unquote eggs open and found they were fakes. Baba had some also. Once, when they were in the kitchen, Baba, as usual, was seated on his mattress on the table, and he asked Sunamasi, "You're very fond of fish, aren't you?" You often had fish in Bombay. Yes, Baba, she replied. I ate it every day. Every day? Yes, Baba. Do you think of fish sometimes? Sunamasi confessed that she did, and Mehera recalled, our mouths were watering at all this talk of fresh fish. I think Baba also would have liked to have had some fish that time, though he didn't say so. He must have been thinking about it, yet he would not eat it, and only much later did he allow himself some. After eating, Baba remained seated on the table while the women cleared the plates and brought an aluminum basin. One of them held the soap and towel while Mehera poured water over Baba's hands into the basin with a jug. We wanted a chance to serve him, so he let us. After lunch, Baba spent some time relaxing with them. He lay down for 10 or 15 minutes on the mattress, on the table, in the kitchen, or on the gadi in their room. Baba took a bath at this time. Now, is the gadi one of those beds made with webbing? Does anybody know?
Wait a minute. Where is the sentence? Uh,
Where,
Gadi is a vehicle. He lay down for 10 to 15 minutes on the mattress on the table in the kitchen. Oh, or on the gaddi. Gaddi in their room. It's a cushion. Gaddi is like a cushion.
oh, it's just a cushion. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Baba took a bath at this time before returning down the hill to be with the Mandalay from 2:30 to 5 p.m., or sometimes a bit later from 4 to 7 p.m. Sometimes to digest his food, Baba paced up and down the East Room, often holding Gulmai's hand. He talked with the women or played a game of pickup sticks. We had a set of very delicate ivory sticks, Mani said, brought back from one of Baba's foreign trips. Baba would pick up the most intricate ones without moving them. Baba also taught them how to play marbles, but Mehera did not much like this game. She remembered, however, when she was spinning a top and Baba came along. Fine, he gestured as he watched her. You know how to spin a top. She did it once or twice again for fun. In those days, Baba used the alphabet board to communicate, along with gesturing. Mehera could read Baba's board, but not when he went too quickly, which he often did. What made it so difficult was that sometimes Baba dictated in Gujarati, sometimes in Marathi, sometimes in English, and at times switching between all three.
I have to take a bathroom break. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So you realize Baba had laces for the cheddi. You read that part where the woman they stitch laces for his undergarment.
Yeah, for his underwear. In
Underwear.
America, I think that's called cross-dressing.
Mm. In
When men,
India, if you have a boxer short and you don't have elastic, you would naturally want a lace there, right? So it's something like that. The cheddi is loose one. It's the underwear, but it's really like very cotton, thick. It's like very thin. It will be very loose in India, like the traditional one. And you tie it with a knot with a lace. Yeah, that's kind of paisama, but you cut down the legs of the paisama. Yeah, you may say it's cross dressing.
I didn't follow what you said. You cut along the legs.
Of paisama. Take a paisama.
What's a paisama?
Paisama. How do you pronounce?
Paisama.
Yeah, the night wear. You wear like night dress. Paisama.
Pajamas. We say
Pajama.
pajama.
Pajamas. So the
Yeah,
pajama and you cut the leg. That's the underwear.
yeah. Yeah, I guess sort of like our boxer shorts, but I remember a film of Baba where the elastic is like way above his, it's almost at chest level,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Eugene, did you read the sidebar?
No, I didn't. The women washed the pots and pans and even Baba's mug and other things using ashes from the fire as a scouring substance.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we pick up some tips how to wash dishes too in Mehera-Meher.
Did you want to continue or do you want Meher Kiran?
Sounds like a good time to switch readers. Yeah.
Meher Kiran, could you pick up?
Yeah, thanks.
Mayor, can I just request you to read like more slowly than your normal rapid fire machine gun
Yes.
style? Thank you.
Yes. I will try to be slow.
Much better. Much better. Yeah.
The women always address Baba in Gujarati. Generally, Mehera could follow Baba's rapid hand gestures. Only when starting a new subject did he have to spell things out. Baba had so much patience. He would go slowly. Reading Baba's gestures, you actually felt what Baba had in mind. Khorshad could read the board, but if Baba began doing it rapidly, she called Mani to see what Baba wanted. Amongst the women, Mani was the most proficient at reading the board. She could even read it when it was upside down. I never asked Baba to go slower while he was using the board, but later, when he adopted hand gestures, sometimes if we could not follow what he was saying, he spelled out the word using both hands simultaneously, each a different letter. The Gadi is not the one that is now under the upper Mehrabad tin shed, which is larger and made of heavier wood.
I thought you said it was a cushion.
So I think see Gaddi. Gaddi, I think here it's not really a cushion. It's like a wooden platform. Okay, Gaddi is a platform. The real meaning of Gaddi is a It could be usually a cushion. To make somebody sit, usually give them a cushion. That's what I thought. But it's here a wooden platform.
I see.
In India, we use wooden platform also. I remember, it has like a stand and you put it on the floor and people sit on it.
Mhm.
Keeps you safe from cobras and scorpions.
Like ants. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, but it could be from cobras if there were many there. Okay. If the days are warm, Baba preferred to sit outside in the evenings on his gaddi and have his dinner under the open sky. The gaddi was usually kept in their room, but as it was made of light wood, they could easily carry it outside to an archway of foliage next to the kitchen, put a cushion and tin mattress on it, and cover it with a cloth or sheet. At sunset, Baba washed his hands and relaxed on the gaddi. He ate with the plate on his lap. Mehera remembered those quiet, special times alone on the hill with Baba. We were busy going to the kitchen, happily running back and forth, serving Baba's food, getting him some chutney or whatever. The women ate their supper with him. All sat outside while it grew dark and watched the stars come out before the kerosene lanterns were lit. Twilight would fall and it would grow dark. But still Baba would be talking. It was warm. And where else did we have to go? We stayed out, sitting on the patlas, short stools. It was very quiet. While living on Mehrabad Hill, only Suna Masi was stung once by a scorpio. The small kerosene lanterns did not give much light. Once someone thought a big ant was near her. Baba said to look properly. It was a scorpion. He said to kill it. From that day on, Baba had kids and lights brought up and used. Baba had a pole erected in front of the kitchen and the light hung from it. We used to sit under this bright light. Where was it? Okay, now. After Baba finished eating, one person massaged his feet. Baba was on his gaddi, we on stools. Baba's gaddi was not so high. He would relax and talk about something. He told us a bit of what happened with the Mandli. We said something. Perhaps he asked what dream we saw, or told Khorshid to sing. Mehra never told Baba much about her childhood. But in Nasik, she did narrate a few incidents about her father when Baba himself brought up the subject. He seemed interested in Jahangir. Daulat Mai was also present. We told all the little details of how father loved us, how we had a pony and he wanted us and mother to ride. Such funny things we told Baba. Often Baba asked for an amusing story, but Mehra usually said that she did not know any because as a child she had read only fairy tales. Fortunately, the others knew a few. Sometimes a breeze was blowing, always anticipating his moves. Mehra put Baba's hair behind his ears. Baba smiled at her. I knew Baba would feel uncomfortable, though he was not aware of it. She added, I remember all these little things. Baba's sweet memories. We'll live on these memories now. Baba might tell Mani to bring the small gramophone, the old wind up one from Nasik, and play a few records. Mani recalled that in those days, Baba listened to English music mostly. The Isle of Capri, or African American spirituals of Paul Robeson's Sent by the Westerners. Al Jolson's record, Sweeney, was often played as well. If he was in the mood, he listened to Qawwali music also. Mehra recalled that Baba did not care for the flip side of Sweeney, probably April showers. It was 7:30 now. Mani remained. It grew dark. A few stars came out. It was lovely. Baba looked so beautiful, seated with us. That was a very beautiful time with Baba. Those were the days, as they say. Baba often said, make the most of it. You're sitting quietly around me. It won't be like this in the future. There will be so many coming up this hill. Baba made a gesture that seemed to indicate the west. Mani could not imagine it. They were living alone on Meherabad Hill. So secluded, so isolated, so cloistered. It was difficult to imagine anybody else living there. She noted wryly to a few young listeners. In the future, Mehrabad will be so different. You won't be able to imagine and will remember it as it is today. Once Baba revealed, in the future, people will have big heads and no hair. Won't that be wonderful? No combing and no oiling. He added, perhaps in jest, and there will be no cooking. People will swallow pills. Baba startled Franny by remarking, you're wearing bangles and a sari now. But in your last life, you were a man. Baba indicated that Mani too had been a man in her previous life and would be one again in her next and final incarnation as a perfect master. On another occasion, he said that he was already God realized when Mani was born, and he had brought her down especially to be with him. We never asked about such things, Mehra said. But something happened that day in regard to Mani, and Baba said this. About herself, Mehra speculated that she had never incarnated as a man. Although Baba never commented about it, Mehra stated, I think I was a woman from the very first. Mani told Baba, I know why you never come in avataric form as a woman. Now I realize why you always come in a man's form. Baba looked at her quizzically, and she continued, you never tell us anything. You don't let your spiritual secrets out. Women have trouble keeping a secret. So if you had come as a woman, you would have given away all your secrets. If you were in a woman's form, you would have told us everything. I would have. Everything we wanted to know. You would have told us. Baba listened with a twinkle in his eye.
And there we have some pictures.
Baba shaving,
Shaving.
Banaras, 1939.
That's Mara's father, I think.
Yeah, Jahangir Rani.
Hunger, yeah.
Mhm. And Upper Meherabad, Mani asked Baba and Mara to pose shoveling dirt into a gamala.
Gamela. Can you scroll up? I did not see this picture. I want to see it again. Upper Mehrab, Camila. Let's see what's that Camila. Oh, okay, the iron thing and the shoveling. Okay.
Mhm. Grinding spices, Mani grinding spices.
Mehera. Is that
Oh,
Mehera?
I think we have that spice grinding stone at here at the center.
yeah.
Well, at least she ground on it. Yeah.
Mhm.
But that's Mehera, right? I think.
I
is
think
it-
Yes.
it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mani,
Annie Oakley.
yeah. Taking
Miney
a,
Oakley. It's fit-
Oh, so many taking aim. Can you show that again? Sorry. What's that? with a
Yeah.
playing. Oh, this one. Oh, I didn't know they used that one.
Don't mess around with her as a perfect master.
and now, Rosalie, would you like to read Busy in His Absence?
Yes.
Can I ask small question to Eugene? You recollect any of the songs they were listening that time?
I made a recording on YouTube of all the songs he listened to.
Oh, is that, can you give the link?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. What's your email?
Yeah, I will type it here. African American religious songs. Anybody heard those?
Yeah.
Yeah, those would be so-called Negro spirituals.
Oh,
And Baba mentioned Al Jolson earlier today.
And Paul Robeson.
Jim Reeves too.
Mhm. Okay, you can pick it up now, Rosalie.
Okay.
I like your
move-
hair.
The move back to Meherabad did not signal an end to Meher Baba's absences. He traveled to Madras in February 1934, to Bangalore in April, and in June, he left for Europe, where he remained for 2 months. Then in November, he journeyed to America. The women and men Mandalay in India did not see him again until mid-February 1935. I think that's why Mehera said her favorite time with Baba was the new life, because he was a constant companion. He was gone a lot of the other time.
Mhm.
During all his extended absences, although Mehera realized that Baba had to leave for his work, she could not help feeling sorrowful. Khorshid reported that after Baba went abroad, Mehera wept for some days. She did not sit and cry or mope about, but every now and then, as she worked throughout the day and remembered that they would not be seeing Baba for many days to come, tears welled up in her eyes. During one of Baba's trips to the West, suddenly Baba himself looked sad and then explained that Mehera in India was crying because she missed him. When the author asked Mehera to comment on this incident, she replied, "I don't know if it's true because I wasn't there, but it must be true. Baba must have said it. He took a long time to come back. We were waiting for him, anxious to see him." Whenever Baba was away for an extended period, he sent letters addressed to Mani. In these, he instructed Mani to give Mehera a message, such as, "Baba hopes that Mehera is all right How are you all? I hope you are well and obeying my orders. Then Baba asked about Mehera specifically and sent her a few tender, loving words. Before leaving in November, Baba gave the women a new project to work on. He instructed them to make a large wooden frame and to put 12 of his photos in it. Mehera said, so Baba gave us this work also. It was a nice occupation. Perhaps he gave it to us to occupy our time so we didn't feel lonely while he was away. We were doing it for Baba, thinking when he comes, he'll see it. Usually after tea at 3 o'clock, seated on low wooden stools or on their beds, the girls did some sewing, mending their clothes. Now they began making the large frame also for these 12 photos, using a hammer and saw. They made crepe paper flowers too for decoration around the photos. Mani had seen girls at school make such flowers, and she did the roses. Mehera did the forget-me-nots. They used different colored paper and talked to Baba as they worked. It took a long time to finish it. We couldn't send for photos, so we had to use the ones we had. That is why the same photo is repeated. We had to use those. We were so excited. How lovely, 12 photos in one frame. The room was nice and empty. So we were all working on the floor. We never used tables or chairs. And the sidebar says, actually, when Baba had seen the group photos taken by Rano at Hetty Merton's house in Switzerland in July 1934, he instructed Rano to have his portrait enlarged separately and to send him the copies. Rano had enlargements of the 3 different poses made at Kodak in Paris. And these were 9 of the photos that Baba gave Mehera for the large frame. Okay. And there was, another activity, target practice. Baba gave Mani a BB gun to practice with while he was away. They even hung an old jam tin on a string from the rafters while someone pushed it back and forth. Mani aimed and practiced shooting. The rifle could not even kill a lizard, but it was not meant for protection, but for recreation. Mani reflected, the thought of target practice surprises me now. But at that time, we not only didn't ask Baba why, we didn't even think why. Baba wanted me to practice, and I did. I got so good at it that even if someone were moving the target, I could hit it. Mani was permitted also to read certain things. I could read the illustrated weekly, but not the newspaper. I collected every little picture from the weekly, and shared jokes and games from it with Mehera. And I showed Baba any particularly amusing cartoons when he returned. I had some contact with the world of innocent magazines and books of knowledge. Mehera, on the other hand, apart from the children's comics, was not permitted even to read labels on tins or boxes. She turned her eyes away from them. But it was difficult to avoid looking at the labels of the cans and jars on the shelf while working in the kitchen. They came up with a solution, said Mani. It was my job to go around sticking blank labels on all the jars and tins. Lipton tea, Quaker oats, whatever, in the kitchen. Monty covered the large print, but left the fine print exposed. Nadja had put her own labels on things, such as salt and sugar, which also had to be removed. Orders were usually given, not for all, but for a particular person for a particular time. We all had restrictions, but somehow Mehera's were always more. One rule, however, applied to all: no naps. None of us was allowed to lie down in the afternoon. Mani continued. Baba gave us enough to keep us occupied every moment. That was the kind of meditation we were going through all waking hours. You couldn't even lie down in the afternoon when you were unwell. No matter what your health was, in the daytime, we didn't lie down. I used to have severe monthly cramps. I was in bed, but my head would be up. Mehera sometimes leaned her head against the iron frame of the bed, but she couldn't lie down. Mani's most important order in Baba's absence, however, was to keep a detailed daily record of Mehera's activities. Baba specified that she was to note the exact time for each entry. For example, from 8:15 till 8:30 a.m., Mehera is reclining on the bed. From 8:30 till 9:45, Mehera is embroidering. From 9:45, Mehera is cooking. There were separate pages for bath and sleep that had columns for each day. How long Mehera slept in bed was recorded. When she ate, when she did anything. I was to write down a record of every movement of Mehera. I took down everything that was the duty Baba had given me. This duty, in fact, became Mani's primary occupation and consumed her every waking moment. She made notes only during the day. Since there were no electric lights after dark, and they had orders to sleep. I lost my place. Oh, she made notes only during the day since there was no electric lights after dark, and they had orders to sleep. But during the afternoons, when Mehera sat on her bed sewing, Mani updated her account. In the beginning, the diary was a simple handwritten record kept in an ordinary notebook. But during Baba's trips to America in November 1934, Mani decided to surprise him with a more elaborate version. Mani was so pleased with this, her diary, that I thought I must present it much more beautifully. An added restriction, however, was that now she was not allowed to write the word Mehera, but had to write she had a cold or M is feeling better. This time, I wrote down each entry neatly in a book I had made myself out of some paper. I drew a small clock with the time next to some entries. I even took pictures from the Illustrated Weekly and made cartoons to delight Baba. Each department, bath, sleep, of news had headings I had made of cartoons. I'd love to see that book. Wow. The front page contained the contents, illustrated with a black mammy sweeping with a broom. When you pulled a tab, her eyes rolled back and forth. That would please Baba. Mani even made a box for the journal out of cardboard with a tiny lock and key. She sewed 4 handkerchiefs together to cover the box and covered the journal itself with another kerchief. On top of the box was embroidered, "These are 2 little kisses. There are 2 little kisses inside. When you open them up, to you they'll fly." I put the book inside. When Baba came, this was his gift. This is what I'd done for him to please him. When I put it before Baba and he opened the little lock and key, it looked as if it meant the world to him. His expression said, "This was just what I was waiting for." He looked so pleased. That warmed you up like anything. He never really read it. He really didn't want to know every detail of Mehera's day. It was my involvement that he wanted. It's not what was accomplished that was important to Baba, but how we were doing it. Every thought, every moment was Baba's. When you did such a little thing for Baba, he made such a big deal out of it. It's like his cup is completely full. So the littlest thing put in, it makes it overflow. With Baba, we didn't think of love. We didn't think of progress. We didn't think of growth. We didn't think of anything except just to try to obey as perfectly as possible to try to please him. When someone asked me, "Tell me what were your happiest moments with Baba?" My happiest moments were when I had done something that had pleased Baba, and Baba said, looking at me, "You have made me happy. I am pleased." You would be on air. What else is higher than that to want, to receive, to long for? Even Baba places that above God realization. My favorite Baba quote is, "If you love me as St. Francis loved Jesus, you will not only realize me, but you will please me."
I'll stop there.
Oh, let me read the last sentence. It doesn't matter.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, it's not scrolled though for me. It doesn't matter how many. So I just need a little scroll.
How many lifetimes, how many years it takes, let that be the goal.
Okay. But that was important because of that quote.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Wow, this was it's delightful to hear these things, you know. Wow.
Yeah.
Very human life. Very human life.